South Korea is over. Guys, is it over for the Koreans? What is this video?
South Korea is over. This sounds
What the f does that even mean?
brutal, but South Korea will soon start melting on all fronts. Demographically, economically, socially, culturally, and militarily. Because for decades, the country has been experiencing a fertility crisis unprecedented in human history.
Honestly, true. And they'll probably cover this way better than I will. But if I visit Korea, my cousins all only have one baby or no baby. But their parents, like my dad, had 6 babies in their family, right? But now that their technology is advancing so fast and their min-maxing in the babies are so bad that they only have one baby or no baby.
And we've probably reached a point of no return. By 2060,
What?
the South Korea we know and love today will no longer exist.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Guys, I need to start a family soon.
What will the collapse
I have to
look
do this
like?
for Korea. See, this is the part that where it's fucked up. Even for me and my friends, none of us have kids right now, and we're all 30s, right? Fuck, dude. Everyone's just doing their own thing. That's why, and they're not having kids, man.
And why is it now almost impossible to stop? The real population bomb. To have a stable population, you need a fertility rate of about 2.1 children per woman. In the 1950s, South Koreans used to have 6 children on average. In the 1980s, the rate fell below 2. And in 2023, it was 0.72 kids per woman, the lowest ever recorded in history. In Seoul, fertility is even lower, around 0.55. On average, about half of the women here won't have any kids, and the other half just one. What do these numbers actually mean in the real world? If fertility stays as it is,
Fuck, man. I want to say a lot of stuff, but it's too long.
then
Let's
100
just watch
South
this.
Koreans will have 36 kids. When they grow up, they will have 13 kids, who will then have 5. Within 4 generations, 100 South Koreans will turn into 5. If we look at today's South Korean population pyramid, we see this is pretty real. There's only one 1-year-old for 4 50-year-olds. After 4 decades below the replacement level, the consequences were still largely invisible.
It's impossible to make a change, though. Like Korea shot themselves in the foot. Everyone's way too min-maxy, guys. Way too min-maxy.
Today, South Korea's population is at an all-time high, as are its workforce and its GDP, which is still growing. But demographics
I know Japan
hits
is
you
kinda
like a
similar
freight
to
train.
us.
You hear it vaguely in the
Japan
distance,
doesn't have kids
and then
too.
it runs you over. South Korea is about to be hit. Let's time travel 35 years into the future to 2060 and see what the country will look like then. When it comes to demographics, the most commonly used projections are those put together by the UN. They envisage 3 scenarios: low fertility, medium, and high. But in the past, all medium UN projections for South Korea have consistently been too positive. Between 2022 and 2023 alone, fertility in South Korea dropped by another 8%. So we're going to use the latest low fertility scenario, which has been the most accurate in the last few years. Keep in mind that we're still talking about projections, and the future is a faraway land. Okay, let's do it.
I thought China pop was high. They only allowed 1 child. No, I heard they fucking calculated that. Any fact checkers in here? I heard China miscalculated that, and they're letting people have babies now more often, right? I know back then there was like a 1 rule thing.
In 2060, South Korea's population
Sarah, I
pyramid
might have
will
to go
look
back
like
to Korea,
this.
meet a Korean woman,
The
and save
population will
Korea or
have shrunk by
something.
30%. 16 million South Koreans will have disappeared in just 35 years. And it'll be the oldest country in human history. 1 in 2 South Koreans will be over the age of 65. Less than 1 in 10 will be under 25.
Oh my god. Guys, my race is getting extinct.
And only 1 in 100 will be small children.
Holy
Imagine
fuck.
waking up in a country where the streets are strangely quiet with no children playing on them. Entire cities have been abandoned. Half of
Yo, this is not false. This is already happening right now. All the schools in Korea are shutting down. When I visited last year, my cousin, Chisani Nuna, she was telling me that all the schools are shutting down, and it's sad.
The
Because there's no
population is
kids.
elderly and living either alone or in overcrowded retirement homes, with a minority of people desperately trying to keep society running. There will be a few major consequences. Economic collapse. In 2023, a breathtaking 40% of South Koreans over 65 live below the poverty line. But in 2060, this number may seem lovely in comparison. Today, South Korea has one of the largest pension funds in the world, worth about 730 billion US dollars. But it's projected to stop growing in the 2040s and be completely depleted by the 2050s.
I'm sure like Koreans are kind of aware right now, and they'll probably do some patch notes and maybe make more TV programs to have kids or something like that, you know?
So in 2060,
There has to be a
patch.
patch note. There will be. But the thing is, like I said, everyone's so busy just living their own life and they don't want to have a lot of kids because a lot of kids, a lot of work, and they want to min-max. Koreans really like min-maxing on their kids' chat. It's like, you know how we play WoW and we maximize one tune to get the best gear and whatnot? They do that with their kids.
Be paid by the working population. Estimates vary, but for a pension system to work, the minimum a society needs is between 2 to 3 workers per retiree paying for them with their taxes. But even if we assume that all South Koreans over 15 will be working in 2060, the country will have less than 1 worker per senior. Workers will be unable to stem the incredible costs. So not only will poverty among the elderly be common, but a big chunk will be forced to work. Except they may not be able to find jobs because by 2060, the South Korean economy may have...
You know what would save this, guys? Okay, this is not going to happen in our day and age, but you know how as we get older, our DNA is that clone itself, right? This is how we like regrow our skins and regrow our hair. Every day, chat, it's like this, but as you get older, it doesn't copy the full length. So this is getting copied over, but it's like shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, right? And maybe they figured this out and people can live longer. Then the Koreans will not be dead. Hold?
collapsed.
No, I'm not talking about shadow clones, but I'm talking about like it's finding something to maybe live longer. I don't know. Reverse age.
Broadly
Do
speaking,
you
the
think that'll
size
ever
of an
happen?
economy is linked to the size of its workforce. To have a big economy, you need a lot of workers to produce a lot of things and a lot more people to buy them. Today, South Korea has about 37 million people of working age, generating a GDP of about 1.7 trillion US dollars. But by 2060, its workforce would have shrunk to less than half, to about 17 million. Of course, technological progress means that productivity will be higher and each individual will probably produce more than today. But even if productivity keeps growing at the same rate or more than we've seen in the last decades, South Korea's GDP could peak in the 2040s. In other words, South Korea will enter a permanent economic recession. There are more optimistic projections that see the recession begin as late as 2050, but they're based on the medium UN demographic scenario, and there are no signs that we're heading there. Another factor in the economy is science, technology and innovation, areas in which big leaps are typically made by young adults and the middle-aged. Young people have fresh ideas that contribute to the wealth of society. Significantly fewer people working also means way less tax for the government, which will be trapped between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, having to provide for half the population that are seniors, on the other, seeing its income diminish. It will be forced to shut down or cut essential services like
Yo,
hospitals
this
or
is
social
cold
benefits.
red Koreans.
Since infrastructure only works at scale, smaller communities may be abandoned as the country contracts into its metropolitan areas. And of course, there won't be enough money to invest in the future.
Okay, how
This-
many of you guys in my chat have kids? Type 1, type 2 if you don't. Be honest. I want to see. Type 1 if you have kids, type 2 if you don't. I think a lot more people have kids in my channel because my demographic for viewership is 25 to 35. It's a lot older. But let's just see of hands. Okay. Damn, there's a lot more with no kids. Okay. How many of you guys want kids? Let's do a poll. How many of you guys want kids? Yes, kid. No kid. Thinking still. All right, just scientific research. I feel like people with
It's time
technology,
for me to go over and save Korea.
it doesn't work like that. The girls will not want to have sex with you. Yeah, I know there's like a meme where they're like, "Oh, let's pack up Japan or Korea." Like the girls are not gonna want to have sex with you guys. All right, you need to be freaking wealthy and have this. Like the girls over there min max, the guys over there min max. Everyone's fucking min maxing. They look for wealthy people to marry, and if you need to have like a big future. I mean, fuck it, maybe you're rich or something, then you might attract them. Okay, so there's 38%. Yes, kid, 40% no kid, 22% still thinking. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I think it's not just a Korean issue, chat. It's more of like whichever country has advanced technology, they think in a different way where they want to do more for themselves and they have a kid. Plus, like, it comes with responsibilities and you don't want to like drop your responsibility to do your thing. So if you have a kid, you want to take care of the kid, right? So people like to min-max a lot. And Korea is just like a condensed, tiny place, right? So I feel like this is happening in Korea first. But in America, we have this, but not to an extent like Korea. Because Korea is tiny, right? This is Korea. I want you guys to see this. South Korea map. That's Korea, chat. And world map. See, if we look at it in the world map, that's Korea right there. That little dot, that's South Korea and that's Japan. And half of that is North Korea. That's why like Korea is like tiny, so they can, you know, spread their technology and whatnot a little bit better and faster, right? Yeah, it's very tiny. That's why I think it's happening where they're advancing a little bit faster and they don't want kids, right? Something like that. Something like that.
It's bad. But what will happen to South Korean society and culture may be worse. Societal and cultural collapse.
Maybe not. Maybe they'll have bots. You know how there's like AI coming out right now and there's like robots coming out? Maybe this guy, the mascot, could be a robot. The cheerleaders could be a robot. And then we can have actual players playing. Maybe the AI can explain the cultural and everything like that.
Society and culture may be worse. Societal and cultural collapse. Speculating on how societies will develop is extra hard, but there are a few pretty unavoidable trends. Today, already about 20% of Koreans live alone. Also, 20% report having no close friends or relatives. By 2060, 50% of South Koreans aged 70 will have no siblings and 30% will have no children.
I'm so thankful my dad had 2 kids, or 2 more. 2 older brother and then me. I'm so happy I had brothers. So happy. I would never want that to be taken away. If you grew up alone and you didn't have like a cousin or a friend or your family, bro, I'm so fucking sorry for you. That sucks. Yeah. I think you should at least have like 2 or 3 if you want kids.
Young adults between 25 and
Siblings
35
are awesome.
will only make up 5% of the population and typically have no siblings at all. This leaves the elderly with almost no close family and young adults with little family and few potential
That's
friends,
awesome.
especially outside of
Pretty
big cities. A loneliness epidemic of epic proportions is all but guaranteed. On top of that, South Korean culture will probably experience a huge decline. In 2000, there were 17.5 million South Koreans between 25 and 45, and they made up 37% of the population. This was the generation that brought us K-pop, K-drama, K-food, and many other trends that spread around the world.
Oh, food. Oh, I lost. Korean food, I lost.
In 2060, there will be just 5.6 million people in that age group, and they'll only be 16% of the population. Many cultural traditions are already struggling because the older generations are having trouble finding young people to...
Europe will be the same soon. I wonder if like the world thinks like that. You know how in America and EU they like bring in people? In America we kind of stopped that, right? And I know other countries are memeing saying like, "Oh, you guys should accept everyone," but they had their own rules, right? I wonder if that's to like control these kind of stuff. But it's not like the fix everybody wants, right? Because I know some people are happy about it, some people are not happy about people coming into their country and whatnot. Yeah. The only thing is, I feel like this might be triggering to people, but I do believe in people coming in legally, right? I think people should come in legally. And I say this because there's cultural differences, right? let's say a night elf moves to Orgrimmar to live with orcs. His culture will not be the same in Orgrimmar, right? So if you come in legally, you have to like pass a test and study a little bit and know about the country a little bit, right? And then you come in, and then you could live in Orgrimmar knowing the rules a little bit. But if you come in like illegally, you're not gonna know those rules, and you might like do your old habit stuff. And some people that live there already might frown upon that, and maybe cause some trouble and whatnot, right? Yeah. So for me, I do believe in coming in legally, or at least try to respect their cultures and be careful about it. That's like my rule of thumb.
Pass them on to. As young people disappear, many traditions will die out. Without young people, the soul of South Korean culture will shrink and wither away. And on a personal level, what kind of experience will it be growing up in 2060? What will youth culture be like in a country of seniors, where many universities, schools and kindergartens are abandoned as there are no longer children to fill them with life? What kind of job prospects
This is already happening, like I explained. It sucks. It
to
sucks.
fill them with life? What kind of job prospects will they face, and what will politics look like? If young people don't want to remain alone, they'll concentrate in Seoul or a few other big cities, or worse for South Korea, emigrate to other countries. Rural areas will decline, and most smaller cities will turn into ghost towns.
No!
We're already seeing this in Japan, which has almost
Guys, this is my last year. I'm going to Korea. I'm gonna start a family, and it's GG. I'm gonna have like 6 kids. I'm gonna make sure I have 6 men. Actually, fuck it, dude. RNG Jesus.
million abandoned houses in rural areas.
Guys,
Large
we need
parts
to
of
save
South
Korea.
will simply vanish and be reclaimed by nature. Last but not least, South and North Korea are technically at war, and they could very well still be in 2060.
Oh, shit.
Will South Korea still be
Man, North Korea, you guys are fucking assholes, man. Dude, there's so many sad stories when this actually happened. Like during the war or before the war, there's like families that got split. They could never see each other.
South
So many
and North
sad
Korea
stories.
are technically at war, and they could very well still be in 2060. Will South Korea still be able to afford to have its young men do 18 months of mandatory military service?
I don't know. Korea might have to borrow some people from...
Today, 5%
Other
of men
countries
of
that pay
combat
them,
age
I
are
think.
enrolled in the military. In 2060, it would have to be 15% just to match today's numbers. Okay, wait, this is all a bit much. Is there no way back? Why, there really is no way back. The problem with
Okay, but we played like StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 2 by this year, like 2060. I think we should have some like AI robots or flying drones that could maybe guard the place. I don't know, right? And then maybe each player plays. You know how we play like WoW? What if I'm controlling the the drone, and you give it to like the top PvPers that are not mentally ill, so that they guard the fucking place? Like, dude, imagine like 20 Zikos guarding North Korea wall, right? With the drones, with no GCD and everything like that. Like, they're not gonna get through then. They're not gonna get through. Okay, they have to be not mentally ill, because I don't want them to like drive the drone to like their house and start shooting people, you know? So they have to check on that.
is there no way back?
You guys are laughing at this, but this is real, guys. There's already drones out there fighting, right? So in 2060, we're in 2025, and look at how far the AI has advanced, right? I know some people saying like, oh, AI video is not going to enhance. Now, dude, it's even better, I'd say. So it might happen. That might be the potential fix right there.
Why, there really is no way back. The problem with the demographic freight train is that once it hits, things become irreversible. Let's say fertility in South Korea magically triples to the replacement rate of 2.1 children per woman and stays there. In 2060, it will be an inverted pyramid on top of a barrel. And there would still be only 1.5 people of working age per senior over 65. Even in the best made-up scenario, South Korea has to pass through an unavoidable bottleneck before it will recover. But there is also a kernel of hope here. Yes, the situation is grim, but at least in the long term, recovery is possible if South Korea enacts rapid and societal changes that make its population want to have kids again. In 2024, births rose for the first time in 9 years, 3% more than in 2023.
They had a patch. I forgot what the patch was. I think if you had like 2 or 3 kids, like you got something free. I forgot what it was. You got like $1,000 or something. I forgot what it was.
But for that to continue, South Korea needs to face the music and ask how they got to this point. How could it get that bad?
They have something. They have something in Korea right now. I just don't remember. I remember my family telling me about it.
In general, as societies get richer, more educated, and child mortality plummets, people decide to have fewer kids. What makes South Korea special is that it's somehow supercharging all of these trends. South Korea lifted itself out of poverty in record time, but in doing so it developed a unique kind of workaholism and extreme competitiveness.
So competitive.
Although the work week is 40 hours and the legal maximum is 52 per week, unpaid overtime is normal for many, and the government even proposed to raise legal work time to 69 hours per week. Despite this, South Korea has relatively low wages and a high cost of living. Real estate in big cities is out of reach for most people. The cost of education is extremely high, since families have to pay for private lessons if they want to send their kids to a high-tier college. All of this while South Korea spends less on family benefits than most other rich countries. Old-fashioned cultural norms make matters even worse. Marriage is
That's what I meant. You guys now know what I'm talking about when I say min-maxing? Koreans are min-maxy as fuck, guys.
but mandatory if a couple wants to start a family. In 2023, only 4.7% of babies were born to unmarried women. Out of all developed countries, South Korean men do just about the least share of housework and childcare within their families. This leaves women with a disproportionate amount of work if they want to keep their jobs after a pregnancy.
This is kind of what it is too in America. I feel like we got in this loop where both mom and dad has to work. And yeah.
While many men are overwhelmed by the societal expectation to be the main
And
breadwinner,
that's why they don't want kid too, right? Because the woman wants to do like her dreams and the man wants to do their dream. Like somebody's got to sacrifice that. And sometimes it's the opposite where the man's like, okay, you know what? For you to grow your dream, I'm going to be the stay-home dad, right? Some do that. It's not common, but it happens.
and have successful careers. Starting a family or not is a personal decision, and most South Koreans are deciding
It's like that in most places now. Yeah.
against it. The bottom line is that South Korea has created a culture that leads to very few kids. Conclusion. Demographic collapse is not an abstract thing in the future, it's happening right now. And it's not just South Korea. In 2023, China had a fertility rate of 1, Italy and Spain 1.2, Germany 1.4, the UK 1.6, and
Wait, really? These two as
the
well?
US 1.0.
It's kind of like I said though. Any country that's like advancing super fast, they all work and they want to min-max, and it just happens like that.
6, which sounds so much better.
Arterius, this is like a dangerous thing, but there's like a thing about it. It's too long to explain. It's too long. It's not bad. There's like good and bad. Everything has good and bads, guys.
Doesn't it? Well, after 4 generations, a fertility rate of 1.6 means 60% fewer new people.
It's not about min-maxing. It's about needing money. Here's the thing. You could say that, right? You could say that. Just like how I said everything has good and bad on it. You could say that it's a money problem. It's true, but I've seen people that have a bunch of kids and they're not that rich, but they just make it work and it happens anyways, right? And it's not to say like you should have a bunch of kids, right? I'm not the one to tell you that. That's your decision. But yeah, I think it's more of like people want to do their own thing too, and some people have responsibility, and if you have too many kids, maybe you're gonna neglect them and you have to work. Maybe you want to chase your dream and be a magician. I meant to say musician, right? Yeah, kids are undispelled deal. It's like a responsibility you have to pick up. Yeah. Housing's too expensive. Housing is expensive. I don't know if I could compare myself, right? Because I grew up with my 2 older brother and my dad. We lived in apartments forever until like 4 years ago. Yeah. Anyways.
A fertility rate of 1.2 means 87% fewer people. And fertility rates are still falling with no sign of stabilization or recovery.
It's like me right now too. I'm a good example. Like I could have kids. I'm in a good spot. but I still have things I want to do, so I'm not having kids, right? It's kind of like that for some people. Not everyone. Everyone has different stuff, right? Everyone has different stuff.
The weirdest thing about all of this is that almost nobody involved in the public discourse has truly grasped the gravity of the situation.
You need to
The last century was utterly dominated by overpopulation narratives, and people who say that we need more kids seem weird. And if you do the maths, the future just seems to be too insane to be true, like it's hard to believe. None of this has ever happened before.
Maybe we don't need kids. Dude, maybe we're about to reach a patch where it's like everybody has 5 Iron Mans in their house, and these 5 Iron Mans do everything for you. Yo, if I have a robot, like, if Tesla makes a robot that could take care of my kid, min-max style, I could have like 5 kids then, right? Maybe the AI robots will help, guys.
So,
Yeah, that might be the solution right there.
low birth rates are mostly discussed in the
And then this might sound bad, but AI is basically kind of like slave, right? And you could just make them work forever. Obviously, if I had a robot, I'm gonna oil change them, lube them up, and make them look shiny and nice so they're in there 100% all the time. But I am going to make these guys work all the time. They are not free. Their schedule is gonna be so tight and packed. Like these robots are going to min-max. Like when I wake up, he's already cooking a meal for me in the kitchen, dishwasher, everything. He's gonna like massage my shoulders while I'm eating. Like nobody's slacking off in my house. Yeah. Sex slave. Dude, what are you talking about? Sex slave. I'm talking about like min-max. Yeah, after that, all right, go vacuum my whole floor. He's vacuuming, cutting the grass outside. Dude. All right, I think that's it, guys. I think that's it.
context of worker shortages, not as the existential threat to our societies, cultures, wealth, and our way of life that they are. If we don't take it seriously very soon and change the DNA of our modern societies in a way that encourages young people to start having children again, then the rest of the century will be pretty grim for those of us who will live through it. The demographic freight train stops for nobody. We finally need to realize that it's hurtling down the tracks right at us.
Do you guys think it will change where the countries figure out how to regrow their population and your culture stays? Or do you think maybe in like thousands and thousands of years, we're all going to be just one skin tone, same eye color, maybe? Because everyone just started merging because there's no more people, right? Then you got to start merging, right? And then maybe there's like 2 rare spawn people, like maybe there's like 1 last Korean, 1 last German. Life finds its way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm curious if either we go on the path of like figuring out a system to incentivize having more kids or making it look more grassy on that side so people have more kids, or everybody just starts, merging into one area and we're all the same race at some point. Like I said, like thousands and thousands in the future, right? With science, you'll be able to choose race in the future. Dude, Loki, that'll be fucking crazy. Imagine your kid is in your stomach and like, okay, what race would you want your kid to be? I want Korean. I got the fucking Korean genes. Holy shit. I mean, dude, you might be right, Loki. Maybe in the future, if this is like 5,000 years into the future, we don't know what's gonna happen, right? We don't know what's gonna happen. Did I legit see that? Yeah, I mean, anything could be possible, man. What does Goose always say? The world is your oyster? Something like that. Yeah, dude, everything could be possible in this world. I feel that. It's crazy how... If you're born in the 90s or 80s, chat, I feel like you got to see the technology like evolve, right? Internet came... And everyone was saying like, oh, stop spending time online. It's a waste of time. But dude, internet is like where everyone spends time now because you just get all the information here, right? It's crazy. You're so positive thinking humans will last more than 5,000 years. I am, what is the right word, guys? Optimistic? I think the world, like the guy said earlier, the world will fix itself. If it's one side leaning too much, these guys are gonna be vocal and push back. It's always gonna like try to balance itself out nonstop.
Multi-layered issues like demographic change are hard to break through in our current media landscape and easy to miss out on. This is why we rely on Ground News, a long-time sponsor and ally in helping find real stories of importance amongst the jumble of information we're confronted with every day. In a nutshell, the app and website gather the world's news in one place so you can compare...
Yo, I like watching this. If you guys have like cool informative videos like these, link it in the Discord. Did you guys enjoy this? This is kind of fun to watch. I want to watch more of like these educational stuff.
Coverage, see the bigger picture, and make informed decisions. Using Ground News, you can see that earlier this year, South Korea was officially classified as a super-aged society, a term that basically summarizes the effects we described in this video. But less than 100 sources covered this development. Interestingly, less than 20% of them are left-leaning media.
Yeah, it's kind of fun
News
watching
has a
this,
special feature, the blind spot feed, that draws attention to stories like that which get lost amidst your personal
South Korea officially classified as super-aged society.
publication preferences.
What does that mean, super-aged?
Most importantly, you can clearly compare how the issue was covered. A government-funded source out of Slovenia, for example, mentioned Europe is considering immigration as part of a solution, while Korea, Japan and China are avoiding that aspect. This way, you can get a balanced account and come to a conclusion for yourself. We encourage you to sign up at ground.news/KIN or scan the QR code and save 50% off their unlimited access Vantage plan. Our link brings the price down to just $5 a month. By subscribing via ground.news/KIN, your investment directly supports Kurzgesagt, plus helps Ground News stay independent and able to provide a tool that's now more important than ever.
Oh, it was like an ad scene, okay. Damn, that was kind of fun to watch. I might have to check more about their videos, guys. I like how they upload it after April Fool's so that people don't think it's April Fool's. Imagine chilling on YouTube, then find a video saying your country is over. Bro, that's me, man. And South Korea is over. Like, what? It's almost as if you neglect economical need. Younger people, you get less younger people. I'm Korean, born and raised in the country. After watching this video, I sat in silence for a while. Not because I'm shocked, because it's said out loud what so many of us already feel deep inside, that it's too late. There's no fixing this anymore. Something will happen, right? I'm in my 30s now, living in Seoul, working a job that consumes most of my time and energy. I went to good university, did everything right accordingly to our society standards, but I feel like I'm running on empty. Every day feels like survival, not life. Damn. Korean government throws money at us. Baby bonus. Yeah, that's what it was. The baby bonus, house incentives, free childcare. But it all feels like putting a tiny bandage on a broken system. No amount of money can really fix how we live. The pressure of success starts from your toddler and never ends. Our school system is brutal. This is confirmed. So many kids suicide because it's so brutal and hard, and you study like half your life as a kid. Actually, more than half, 90%, I'd say. Our culture glorifies sacrifice and burnout. Taking a break is seen as weakness. Oh my God, this is so true, man. Saying no is disrespectful. This one, yeah, if you're working for a company and you say no, it is disrespectful. Thankfully, I didn't work in a big company in Korea. You grow up being told that your worth is based on your productivity, marriage, kids. They're not even dreams anymore. They're burdens. My friend and I talk about escaping the country, building a family. He wants to bring a family into a world where they'll suffer. Oh my God, this is so true. This is so true. I think I heard like 5 Koreans say this when I visited. They're like, I don't want them to live in this place. And honestly, we're tired of pretending we're okay. We're tired of being told that it's our duty to save our nation by having a children when a nation never cared about our well-being in the first place. We didn't get affordable housing, fair job, mental health, but now we're experiencing to sacrifice our next generation. I mean, I feel like most of these could be said like where we're living then too, right? But definitely a little bit brutal in the working field for sure. Like the video said, 60, 70 hour, it's a lot. The saddest part is that even those who want kids, they feel like they can't, not in this environment, not with these exemptions. People maybe things will get better, but how? Korea has had decades to change, and instead it doubled down on the competition, imagine, and control. I love my country, but I don't trust it anymore. The gap between the people and the policymakers is too wide. The policies are written by older men who never liked us, never felt hopelessness, and by a real change could come. Huh. I don't know, guys. Do they need to have a deep dive in their policies, rulemaking? It's time for patch 2.0. This isn't just a crisis of number, it's a crisis of spirit. We're not disappearing in population, we're disappearing in hope. Damn. South Korea here, we are all aware of the problem, and our government is virtually doing nothing. Wish us luck. Damn. The governments need to get slapped around a little bit, huh? I feel like that's everywhere, guys. I feel like everywhere in the world, they need a big change. I know America's having some changes and some people are happy, some people are not, but America was about to fucking blow up and have a war. And yeah, I think other countries are dealing like similar things. Yeah. I think it's just a system that got introduced and it's been abused so much. It needs to come to a close or people are gonna like start blowing up hard, man.